Emotional intelligence is essentially just not listening to the desires of your own mind. And this is a skill. This is a very important skill, a useful skill in life. And I'm going to explain why in this little quicker episode because I got to get out of here quick. So I'm going to quickly digest it and dissect it. So emotional intelligence, you can call it EQ. That's actually like an official term, emotional query. It's like IQ, but for your emotional intelligence and the way you manage your emotions instead of actual intelligence. It's actually like a concept that's discussed, that's talked about. But I'm going to break it down here. Basically, your mind is the laziest thing. There's two parts of your mind you can control. There's two parts of your mind. The part that you can control and the part that you can't control. And the part that you can't control will try to influence the part you can control. And if you don't have control over what you can control, the part that you can't control will overpower you. I think that covers it. Your mind is lazy. Your brain wants to do as little work as possible because, the brain's pretty complicated. The body and the way it works and the way life is, it's very complicated. So your brain wants to do as little work as possible. So every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you make a big change in your life, even if it's a small thing, your brain will make you feel terrible. Like it'll just, that feeling, whatever it is, like fear or overwhelm, that type of feeling, your brain will make that happen to you because it doesn't want to change, right? So basically, emotional intelligence is to say that you don't listen to your brain. You don't listen to what it's telling you. Instead, you keep going. It's easier said than done because, well, the brain will pump out a bunch of feelings and emotions to deter you from the path and get you to quit. But you have to take a step back and look at every situation logically. Sometimes the thing you're on probably isn't worth it anyway. So then it's okay. But most of the time, there's lessons involved if you stick with something for a long period of time. I went through an episode maybe a couple weeks back about kind of the way that kind of the formula for success is what the episode was called. I'll leave it in the cards right there. But basically, the formula for success is week 1 is the honeymoon week. Weeks 2 and 3 are the hardest weeks, the weeks where most people quit. And week 4 and onward, if you make it there, then you will be able to keep going and it will be easy from that point. In that week 2 and 3 is where your brain, it just overwhelms you. It overwhelms you with those feelings. It's like, you get those questions like, oh, why am I here? What am I doing? All this type of stuff. And it's your brain playing tricks on you. And you have to, learn that emotional intelligence is to say, instead of letting emotions drive your decisions, take a step back, look at the situation logically. If genuinely what you're doing right now, and I can atone to that because that is what I'm going through right now. If genuinely what you're doing right now is not worth it, you have to actually dissect it, break it down, and you come to that conclusion, then fine. Ride it out till the 4th week, for a month. And if it's still bad, you're good. You can move on to something else. But if you really look at it and you look at all of the good aspects of whatever thing you're on, and you say, okay, well, why? And then you're actually just questioning why you're feeling so overwhelmed and so fearful, then that's the moment where you have to keep going. You have to push through regardless. Basically, in the Bible, it talks about the lusts and desires of the flesh versus God's will. And there are actually verses in the Bible that kind of relate it to the mind as well, like flesh and mind, because it's your mind that kind of drives all these emotional things of the flesh. And that's the entire biblical lesson is that as humans, we are innately evil. We are lazy. We want things to be perfect, right? But we sin, we fail. And there's many things we can't control. We don't have control over our mind, right? Over the emotions that it pumps out into our bodies. And then we make decisions that are rash decisions. We do terrible things, some more extreme than others. That's the whole point. But with God's will and God's grace and God's love, if you give it to God, He will make something greater out of you. And He will eventually, through work, it's not going to happen in one day, through work and working on yourself, will pull you out of it and pull you out of the sin and help you do better and be a better person. That's the entire main teaching. But the fact that the Bible, which is the ultimate truth, talks about the fact that there is this difference between, what God wants from you and what you internally, innately want. And it kind of can be, explained by the fact that your mind is designed in the way that it is. then maybe you can ask the question, why does God make your mind so lazy? Why does God do this? Well, I think the answer is so that we go and seek him, so that we rely on him to help us do better, that we can't do it by ourselves. So he limits us in that way. So we can't actually do everything by ourselves. We have to rely on him for strength and for that peace of mind, which I think that's a good explanation as to why God created our minds like this. But it's scientifically proven, man. You can search up the facts that your mind is lazy, and your mind is your own inhibitor to reaching the next level, to pursuing whatever you're willing to pursue. And I can give a couple of examples in my own life. It's like in my soccer journey, near the end of it, I was beat. I was like, do I really want to keep going? I was tired. I was sore. I was messed up. And then I was actually asking myself these questions, like, do I really want to keep going? Do I really want to keep doing this? And only after going through a couple months of not playing, because of the, moving back to Canada and the structure of the league being different, there's no winter season. Only after going through a few months of not doing it do I realize, no, it's probably the best thing to keep going, right? It's probably better. And it is just a lie in my mind to try and get me to quit, right? Because your mind wants the comfort. It seeks the comfort. And the comfort is in not having to push yourself. But, it's the whole David Goggins thing. You don't want to go as far as he did, but there is definitely some lesson there for sure that you have to push yourself past your limits. You have to push your mind past what you can even think possible. And that's the only way you are going to develop emotional intelligence. That's the only way that you are going to have control over your mind. Because throughout the pursuit, throughout the big thing, you'll ask questions. And you have to find answers to those questions logically in order to actually move forward in what you're doing. We know and we hear on the internet all the time that difficulty and struggle and setbacks and all of this stuff, tribulations, are the way forward, are the way where you actually grow as a person, is through your tough moments and your pains, not through the good moments. But when the time actually comes where you have to make that sacrifice and you have to take that risk, or the opportunity's there, you don't do it. Something stops you, right? What's that something? It is your own mind and you not having control over your mind. So what I said before, you have the part of your mind you can control, the part of the mind you can't control. No matter what, you will feel fear. No matter what, you will always be overwhelmed. If you're starting something new, you're changing something in your life, there will always be that setback and that pushback from your own mind. Emotional intelligence is to say that you don't let it affect you, don't let it change your course or your path. Emotional intelligence is to have control over that. Not necessarily controlling the feelings you can't control, because you're going to feel those feelings regardless because of what I've said before. Your brain is lazy, your brain wants you to fail. But what you can control, the part that you can control, your own conscious decision making, that part you can control, and you can suppress the feelings that get bombarded into you by your mind and by your flesh, which you can't control. And of course, leaning on God for help and support through it all will obviously make things a lot easier and give you much more strength as well. So that's basically the overarching principle when it comes to emotional intelligence. And it's an important thing. It's an important thing. I don't know if there's actually anyone that's explained it in this way, so it's good. I'm not just repeating what I'm seeing on the internet. I'm actually giving my own ideas and giving my own explanations of the concept. I don't think I've seen anyone, right? I'm not repeating someone, right? This is just raw information that I've come up with today that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, right? So take that with you. Understand that that is going to be the case in every pursuit, in every change, in every big thing. If you want to actually go and achieve it, there will be that pushback from your mind, and you have to be ready for it. And you have to understand that it's normal, that it's natural. Nothing's wrong with you. It's because your mind is weak. It's because your mind, and that's not bad for you. It's just your mind's weak. All of our minds are weak. It's about the part you can't control that will always be there. I'm not insulting you, but all of our minds are weak. My mind is weak. It is the emotional intelligence part and the actual logical thinking that will allow you to keep going. And of course, you have to find an overarching purpose. You have to find the why. You need to have a real, true, deep reason as to why you're actually doing what you're doing. And of course, you rely on God for that help and support, and He will give it to you. So that is my little masterclass there. That is my little explanation on what it means to be emotionally intelligent. If I miss something, let me know. Push back. Talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will respond to comments. You know what I mean? I will, debate with you, obviously, if it's in a respectful manner. So I think that's it. I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk about. So just understand that. It's normal. It's natural. But you're never going to make it anywhere in your life if you just, if you actually are a slave to the lusts and desires of your flesh, of your mind. You will never actually make it anywhere. You will just constantly, if okay, yes, I will end it on this. This is a perfect point. The other side, if you're not emotionally intelligent, if you're the type of person that responds to emotions, that acts on every single impulse that your brain gives you, you'll be the type of person that gets fat, that eats too much, that falls into addictions, terrible addictions, drinking, that hurts other people, that gets angry super easily, that is prideful and self-confident, that is lustful towards the opposite sex, that is lazy, that will sit on the couch all day. Because ultimately, that's what your brain wants to do. It's easier to do those things than to do the things that are actually beneficial for you in your life. Like for your brain. For your brain, it's easier to do the comfortable, the easy, because addictions, the whole point of addictions, that's why it's such a big thing, because it makes you feel good. And that's the entire point. You can have all these reasons not to do it, but if you don't have that emotional intelligence, you will still fall into the addiction because the feeling of it making you feel good will overpower every single other objection. So that is the type of person you'll become, and you'll become a mess, right? Obviously, we know that, addictions just slowly kill you and slowly drain you. That's the extreme of it. But even just like the lifestyle thing where you're just comfortable, things are easy, and you're never pushing yourself, you're just there in that, in that kind of hollow shell and just lack of any energy and desire type of thing of life. And no one wants that. No one wants to live a life like that. So the only way you can avoid living a life like that is to understand that your brain will try to make you live a life like that. And you have to be emotionally intelligent enough and in control of yourself enough in order to not fall into those temptations, not fall into those desires, and truly seek to do better each and every day.